Good evening. I'd like to bring the public meeting of the Board of School Directors from the Interboro School District to order. May we have a roll call, Mrs. Caldwell?
Mr. Eckert?
Here.
Mrs. Floyd?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Phelps?
Here.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Here.
Mr. Razzie? Here. Mrs. Hogger?
Here. May we have the invocation and pledge, Mrs. Krajewski? Please stand.
Heavenly Father, please hear our prayer. Bless all schools, colleges, and especially the Interboro School District, and grant to this board in their deliberations this evening the spirit of wisdom, truth, and knowledge. What is undertaken always be done in charity and in peace, and what we do might be for the benefit of others. All this we ask in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Riley will be leading our recognition portion.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Pat Quinn. As many of you know, Pat is a very involved community member in Prospect Park, and every year he facilitates the Memorial Day essay contest here within the district. And always at our June meeting, we have an opportunity to recognize those students who wrote essays and are being acknowledged and recognized for their hard work. So at this time, Pat, come on up, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Bernadette. First, before I even get started, I want to thank a few people here. Our Superintendent, Bernadette Riley, Board Secretary, Margaret Caldwell, sitting up in front, Director of Curriculum, Dr. Valerie Ekman, and her assistant, Rosemary Rees. These four people, as well as the entire Interboro School District, have been involved in this project for a number of years, and I cannot thank them enough as kind of communities. What I'd like to do first is just point out our veterans. Could you gentlemen stand for a minute? These gentlemen are our post commanders of our four Interboro posts in our four communities, and very involved. Not just them, but members of their post are our coaches, our volunteer firemen, leaders in our community, Boy Scout leaders, the list goes on and on. So thank you again. I'll introduce them as I give out the binders. I'll make this very quick. Last year we had a fire alarm go off in the middle of this, and I wasn't sure if Bernadette set that up for me. Anyway, first what we're going to do is, a lot of the kids could not make it tonight because of vacations, but I'll call out each community. We have a binder of some essays, tremendous essays written by the heart with passion by these kids. I would challenge all these kids to continue writing. They get into high school. There's many opportunities to write at the high school level for scholarships. It starts here at the grade school level and works its way up. So we'll start. One thing I would like to do, none of the kids appear to be here tonight, but our VFW 7213 in Norwood had a program called Voice of Democracy, which was a statewide and countrywide contest. 3 of our students from Tinicum won this contest. 2 of them are also winners of essays this year. Liam McCafferty, I think he's away on vacation, Haley Oskowski, and Rachel Gravis. George Cox, George, might as well stand up anyway. George, we have some presentations for these kids, and I guess I'll take the checks and promise not to spend them. And what we'll do is I'll get these over to Tinicum School. Again, this contest that the veterans do, each year they do it, all the schools are invited. Tinicum kids won it out of the district. Excellent writing skills, and again, it's proven every year by our kids here. So we'll start with Glenn Olden. Glenn Bell is the commander. John Malloy, John, come on up. John is heavily involved in the Glen Olden Parade and does a lot of work with the veterans, Boy Scouts. This goes on and on. I'll call out the kids' names. Again, I know most of them are not here today. John Shallow. John, come on up. Kyler Valor is not here. Carrie Barnett is not here. Christine Sachs is not here. Amelia Snyder is here. Come on up, Amelia. Charlotte Rayla is not here. Rachel Brennan is not here. Calvin Walden is not here. And Frankie Bosch is here. Come on up, Frankie. This is a binder of the essays of the Winning Glen Olden kids, 9 essays, excellent essays. Again, I would ask the post commanders, put them into your posts, share them with your veterans, and let them know that we all care. Can you guys just give this to John? Just right out to John. Thank you. If you guys just want to stand over here for a minute, and then we'll do the next group. One thing I do want to mention is that the funding for Glen Olden came from the Marcianne Garrity Funeral Home that helped sponsor these essays. For Norwood, the American Legion Post 507, Commander Joe Minch, and that was funded by Kavanaugh Funeral Home. Again, many of the kids are on vacation today. Jordan Kennedy's not here. Jordan Howe is here. Jordan, come on up. Kayla Morris is not here. Marissa May is not here. Amber Burkheimer is not here. Haley Gonzalez is not here. Emily Gavin is not here. Tyler Colbert is here. Come on up, Tyler. And Victoria Spera is not here. Oh, Victoria, come on up. No way. And again, Commander Joe Minch. Why don't you just give that to the commander? Yeah, just move over that way. We have everybody here. Prospect Park, VFW Post 7213. I want to just make a note about this. 7213 is actually in Norwood. We do not have a post in Prospect, so Norwood has agreed to share one of their 2 posts with us. And Jim Howell, come on up, Jim. Jim is the past commander. And Jim was the person that roped us into doing the Holy Cross grave sites and convinced our principals a couple years back, so we owe Jim some thanks and some punishment. Again, we have some of the kids are on vacation tonight. Cameron Hagan, Vivian Chen are not here. Mara Smith, Mara. Emily Gosley is not here. Ariana Guerrero is not here. Bailey Collington is here. Come on up, Bailey. Samantha Shemlock is here. Come on up, Samantha. Riley Morrison is here, and Claire Simmons. Come on up, ladies. Why don't you give that to the commander? Okay, Tinicum is last, and we have, again, Tinicum was supplied by the Tinicum Rec Committee, funded our essays. We have, in this case, our commander could not be here, Greg Fee, but George Cox will take the binder. 6th grade, Kelly Connor could not be here. Alexis DeMarco could not be here. Elena Harrell is here. Come on up, Elena. Nick Rentz could not be here. Roger Hummel could not be here. Natalie Patuo could not be here. Liam McCafferty could not be here. Haley Oskowski could not be here. Kimberly Hang could not be here. Okay. Why don't you present this to Again, this is the first part of the process, which is the essay contest and the essays going to our 4 boards, or 4 posts. Second part of this was, as I mentioned, we did a cemetery event where our high school kids, our high school seniors, and a number of our grade school kids all showed up to help parents put flags on the cemetery plots. I have to say, once again, I had a number of parents come up to me afterwards, tell me what a great honor it was for our communities to come out there and help the veterans. And Jim, that's a lot thanks to you and the team here, and I know Joe over here as well. You guys planned that and did a great job with it. 5,000. I think Jim had said to me the first year before we were involved, you guys did like 500 to 1,000. So, I mean, we all feel honored, so thank you for sharing that with us. Next part of this is the actual event that I know we're all waiting for, the trophy. Pretty exciting event. Unfortunately, our state representative could not be here tonight. I think the board will get a little humor out of this. He's stuck in a budget meeting in Harrisburg, so he cannot make it tonight, but his assistant is going to give out the trophy for us, Amanda Bark. Amanda, come on up. I'd just like to read out the trophy first, and I'll turn it over to Amanda. Interboro School District Memorial Day Parade Competition, honoring our veterans, least we forget. 3 simple words, least we forget. Our commitment in the Interboro and the 4 communities is we will not forget. And I'll take the secret tag off here.
Tinicum Elementary School.
Okay, so Tinicum, come on up, hon. And also, we have a certificate, right? So,
Yes.
can you guys take a picture of this?
And I have a citation from the state representative. Congratulations.
I thank you for your help. Real quick, if any parents want to take a picture, why don't you come up? I know we want to move this on quickly, and the superintendent is giving me the evil eye, so. Let's get a couple pictures.
Okay, can everyone get together?
Can everybody move in a little closer? Squeeze in a little closer. Okay, one last thing. I just myself want to personally thank the board. I've been doing this for a couple years, and I always feel welcomed here by the school district and the board. And I know you guys have a thankless job, in my opinion. You get up there, you're volunteers, and each year you do your best. So thank you, at least from my family. And I can tell you, I have a couple daughters graduated from Interboro and have done well because of the school district and the board. Thank you. And thank you.
Pat, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate it. For the families that are here, if you would like to stay for the public meeting, you're more than welcome, but if you would like to head out, please feel free. Thank you again, Pat. We really appreciate your efforts here, and we look forward to continuing in the partnership, so thank you.
We're going to move on to the public comment section. I'd ask residents to state their name, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes. Ms. Krajewski, who do we have on this evening?
Zerdy Doby?
Zerdy Tinicum. I think it would be more appropriate if you allowed the public comment after the presentation of the budget, because if people have questions about the budget, they're not going to be able to have it addressed until after the meeting. So would you consider that?
I hate to change the format right now, but I think
It would be
that-
most appropriate,
I
don't you think?
understand.
So-
I'm not, maybe a question and answer?
So you're not going to do it?
No.
Okay. Then number 22, which is the budget increase of 1.5%. And Tinicum Township held their meeting this past Monday. At that meeting, I raised several issues about the airport and the monies from the airport. The president of the Tinicum Board of Commissioners indicated that you had received a check for $500,000. Is that true?
That is true. That is part of the settlement that we had for a particular building, and that is being, it's put into the fund balance for improvements to the facilities at Tinicum School.
So it's not part of the budget?
It is not.
And why? And so it's public spending, it's public money that's coming from the airport. Why isn't it part of the budget?
Well-
And why isn't, if it is going to be included, then that would lower the
It
amount that
was-
you're going to
the
charge the school
stipulation.
district.
The stipulation was that that money be spent to improve Tinicum School, and we will abide by what we signed. So that was, the board has not decided what we're going to spend that on, but it will be spent on Tinicum School. So that was not put into our general operating budget, and it's in our fund balance.
And also at that meeting, I'm asked a question about some of the things that were in this settlement agreement. One of the things is the stated payments, the initial fixed payment on 3C of the agreement, which says that you're going to get $1.8 million to be split equally between the county district and the township. Now, I asked at the meeting as to why I don't think it's a fair distribution, because you're going to pass the budget tonight, and you're going to charge us 32. You're going to have a 1.5 increase, and you're going to increase the millage to 32, more than 32, right? So Tinicum Township has a millage rate of 4.4, and the county has a millage rate of 5.6. So to have an equal distribution of this money from the airport is not fair, and it certainly robs the children of much-needed money. I'm sure that a more fair, equitable distribution would be something along the lines of what was happened in 1998. In your initial payment, the school district received $1.8 million, the township $700,000, and the county $300,000. Now, I don't know, Mr. Eckert, did you actually read the agreement before you voted on this for the airport?
Mr. Dubey, did you have any other comments about the,
Yeah, this is part of that. This is,
all of the board was well aware of what was in that agreement?
well, I don't even know how you could possibly have voted on it in making those payments equal, when you're going to now raise our taxes for the people, and yet you're only going to get 1/3 of the amount, but we're going to be paying a lot more. It's not fair, and I don't think you did a very good job to represent what the school district should receive in that initial fixed payment. I think that that's a failure on your part, and I think you should try to renegotiate it. It's not likely you're going to get one, because Commissioner Jean Christopher, when I said this at the money meeting, they laughed. So I don't think that it's likely that they're going to give up any money. And Delaware County Council held their meeting today, and likewise, they were not any more attuned to giving up any of their share of that $1.8 million. So I think it's unfortunate for the children of this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dubey. Ms. Krajewski?
Phyllis Floyd.
Phyllis Floyd, 604 14th Avenue, Prospect Park. The reason why I'm speaking here at the podium is because there's the agenda items. It wouldn't be appropriate to bring up some of these things at that time. So therefore, I wanted to bring to the public's attention, I had to fill out 3 right-to-knows, because every time I would ask, I would get nibbles of information, and the information that I was asking for basically was in regards to the budget. And I still, as of today, didn't get all the information that I had asked for. That's one thing. It's a shame that a board member has to fill out right to knows to get information that is available to the public. Then I'd like to bring up another point. There is no, on the agenda, there's no amendment to the busing policy, yet we were told the other evening that there is going to be busing is going to be grandfathered because a letter that went out to parents telling them that there are students who go to private or parochial schools within a 10-mile radius under the school code. The calculations were debatable, and the fact of the matter is that the way it was calculated, it wasn't calculated according to the way the school code reads, our policy reads, and the letter that was sent to the parents. The 10 miles is supposed to be from the boundaries of the district, not from their home to the school. And so, for whatever reason, the superintendent said she's going to, the people that she said would no longer have busing. I don't know if it's 5 or 6 families or 5 or 6 different schools. The fact is that they are now going to be grandfathered, and they will be allowed. However, anybody that enrolls in any of these schools in the future will not be allowed to have busing. So I urge anybody that is putting their kids in private and parochial schools to please go online and read what the state code says. And we can put anything we want in a policy, but code supersedes, the law supersedes our policy. So with that said, I'm glad that the parents, that somebody listened and realized that these kids were unfairly cut off from transportation, and they're going to be able to have the transportation after all. But for future students, it's not right. It still is not right. And if that's the way it's going to be, there should be a motion amending the policy stating that these students are being grandfathered. Okay, I also asked, we are going to be receiving a donation of a baby grand piano, a donation, but with it, we found out late, no details were given, except for it's going to cost approximately $1,200 to move it here, to tune it, and what have you. The fact of the matter is, again, there's no motion. I'm not against getting the piano, receiving the piano. It's a wonderful thing that this family is doing for the music department. However, there's a proper way to do everything. And under the school code and the policy, and also talking to our finance director, there is supposed to be approval, a motion for unexpected expenditures that are not in the budget that are over $100. When I asked, I was told it was going to come out of the out of the facilities department. The finance director said, no, the only way you could do that is if there's a transfer from one department to another. I don't see anything on the agenda for a transfer from facilities to the high school. That's the budget it's supposed to come out of. Again, it's not the piano that is, that I am, worried about or concerned about. It's a wonderful thing, but I ask questions. What are we going to do with the present one we have? Are they both going to be able to fit? Was it thoroughly checked out by a professional as far as the conditions? So therefore, I just feel that the board was left out in the dark. We were told after a decision was made, okay? And another thing, the secretary's
Mrs.
postings.
Floyd, your 5 minutes are up. If you would conclude your remarks, please.
The secretary's postings, I checked them. I brought it up last month that I didn't realize at the time that the salaries that were posted were not proper. I was more concerned that we were in a status quo. And the fact of the matter is that after checking the postings, the salaries are higher than what was posted. Therefore, we should be reposting these jobs in the event that somebody would have realized that they would have been able to apply, making more money.
Mrs. Floyd, your time has expired. Thank you very much for your comments.
There's also an increase.
Thank you, Mrs. Floyd.
You're welcome. There's also an increase in the reason why I had to do
Mrs.
this.
Floyd, we'd like for you to rejoin us so we can conduct this meeting, if you would like.
I have one more point. The fact
4.1,
is
please.
that
Motion.
the athletic director's increase in salary,
These
we
are
were
non-agenda
told.
items.
Yes, they are, and that is definitely information that
I got in a right to know, so it's public
It
information.
is not on the agenda, so please conclude your remarks.
The fact of the matter is that we were told it was
Thank you.
$8,000 to $10,000, and here it's over $18,000. So we are getting bad information, and when people criticize the board, it's not the board. The board is left in the dark, and a lot of times we are.
Mrs. Floyd,
I can
please.
understand why everybody up there is upset, because they're not listening and understanding when I try to forewarn. The fact of the matter is, nobody cares. This is our school district. This is our
Mrs.
taxes.
Floyd, we heard this all the other night. You said all this at the public meeting. Everything you just mentioned.
Excuse me, the
you
public and the
already
people
said.
sitting here didn't hear it.
It
And I
was-
feel
it
that
was
they
in a
need to hear
public
it.
format already. You've already said all this.
There was one member of the public there.
All right.
It was a
we're-
public meeting.
Let's just proceed to motion 4, please. Mrs. Krajewski, 4.1.
Thank you, Mrs. Floyd.
Motion that the following minutes of the regular meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors held on May 20, 2015 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 9-1. Motion, I'm sorry. The solicitor's report, this evening we have Kate Meehan with us in place of our regular solicitor. Ms. Meehan,
Yes, Madam President, there is no solicitor's report at this time.
thank you. Can we move to 6.1 or 6?
Motion that the attached treasurer's report for the month ending May 31, 2015 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments on motion 6? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-1. No,
Motion,
I'm sorry, 9-0. Do we have any correspondence?
no, I have to read the others.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Motion that fund disbursements in the amount of $4,243,534.28 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Ms. Krajewski?
Motion that the attached budget transfers for the fiscal year 2014-2015 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9.0. Now, do we have any correspondence?
No, Mrs. Holger.
Thank you. We're going to have our presentation of the budget by Mrs. Riley in Mr. High School.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, thank you. This evening, I will be presenting the 2015-2016 budget. Mr. High School will be assisting me here as we move through the slideshow. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the budget following the meeting. Marty and I will be here to address any questions that you might have. Before we get started, I would like to thank the board for their support through this budget process. We start this in January, and we work through diligently till up to this moment today to prepare this budget. And please note that we spend a lot of time ensuring that we are being fiscally responsible and wanting to provide the best education we can for our students. So again, I want to thank the board, especially Mrs. Holger. She is our finance chair. She meets with Marty and I on a regular basis in preparation for the GBO finance meetings that we have each month. All right. Thank you. All right. Here you'll see some information, figures on what makes up our budget. You'll notice that, of course, our highest percentage of revenue for the district comes from our local revenue sources, which is our property taxes that we have. State, about 33% or approximately $19 million of our revenue comes from the state. Federal is about 2% with a total revenue of about $61 million for our revenue for the district. Our expenditures for the 15-16 school year, of course, the largest portion is our instructional expenditures, about $38 million, and that is particularly our professional staff, salaries and benefits, contracted service for our students. Next, we have support services, which is about $16 million or 25%. That includes our administrative salaries, our nursing, transportation, and the business office. Debt service is the principal and interest of our outstanding bonds, which makes up about 5%. Operations, which is our facilities, utilities, grounds, and building, that makes up about 8%, for total expenditures of approximately $62 million. This next slide just gives you a graphic so you can see visually how those percentages play out here. And that is exactly what the previous slide was. All right, some of our revenue sources. Every year we look at 3 years to see how these revenue sources do affect our budget. As you will see, we have an increase in our current real estate, which is good because that means people are paying their taxes. The delinquent real estate taxes, that number has gone down, which is also good. That means that people are continuing to pay their taxes on time. We see a slight increase, not much, pretty steady with our parking lot tax. We see an increase in our basic education subsidy. That's the money that we receive from the state for our students. Our rental and sinking fund subsidy is the decrease to our bonds that we refinanced. And our special education subsidy, a little bit of an increase there, and that's very similar to the basic education subsidy. Down at the bottom, we do get some federal revenue, our Title I programs. Usually there is a decrease in that, and that is our Title I program. Our Keystones to Opportunity grant, that went up slightly. And we have Title II, which I believe, I'm sorry you can't see that slide there, but that is pretty much status quo. That figure has not changed. Our reduction in expenditures for the 15-16 school year. We lease our buses, which provides a significant savings to the district in dealing with transportation. With the new infrastructure projects that we've done at Norwood and Tinicum, this year at Prospect Park, we do see some savings there at $177,000. A reduction in our outside contracted services. This has been an area where the district, our pupil services and special ed department has really spent a lot of time, with our goal being that we provide services here within our district for our students. And that has been a significant savings to us. And we've seen some money in the refinancing of our bonds with the interest rates. An increase in our expenditures, healthcare, as you can see, the overall increase across the district is 9.5% at a cost of about $400,000. Our Peaser's retirement after the employer contribution net of our state subsidy is about $667,000. We are in the first of a 5-year laptop lease, and our debt service with our new capital projects, which are the Prospect Park site development and the kindergarten and the secured entrances at all of our schools. And that, with all of that, we have a 1.5 tax increase, and that would bring in about $552,000 to the district. How does this affect an Interboro household? The average assessment of a home in the Interboro School District is approximately $90,000, which an increase to the real estate tax of about $45 a household. Where will your tax dollars be going this year? As far as curriculum and instruction, we are doing a lot of extensive curriculum writing this year in elementary, middle school social studies, health and science, K-12 counseling, middle school math, elementary English and language arts, and K-12 music. We are purchasing a new PA standards aligned middle school science program. We are aligning our ELA program with the Common Core in grades K-3. We will be administering the ACT, the ACT at the high school for all 11th grade students, which we have not done before. We will continue to administer the PSATs for our students who are interested, and we're expanding our iPad apps and software at the Kindergarten Academy. Facilities. We are completing concrete work across the district, secured entrance projects. We will be replacing exterior signage at the high school. There is some drainage repair work at the Norwood School. Prospect Park, we are doing a complete upgrade to the infrastructure. And at the Prospect Park and Kindergarten Academy, as I stated earlier, there is a site development project to provide additional parking and also to help control the flow of the traffic around Prospect Park and the Kindergarten Academy, which is something that we've been looking to do for quite some time. Also at the very bottom of the slide, you'll see we have the airport settlement one-time payment of $500,000 that is designated for the Tinicum School for capital improvements. And the board will determine how that money will be used. Technology. We are upgrading all of our laptop carts in each of the schools. That's about 450 laptops. We are holding our first annual Tech University, which is for our professional staff. And we are also going to be holding technology trainings throughout the summer. We're adding additional wireless access points in each of the buildings. We've noticed that we have some dead areas, so it's very hard for the students to use our technology and connect. So we are adding additional Wi-Fi or wireless access points in each of the buildings. And we are moving to document imaging for our district records, and that's part of our record retention policy. The KTO grant. Total funding to the Interboro School District for KTO is about $2.6 million. For year 4 of the grant, it is a 5-year grant, we will be bringing in about $631,000. We also have the Ready to Learn grant at approximately $428,000. With that money, we will be adding a district data and assessment coach, data and assessment coordinator, and an elementary math coach. We will be, in conjunction with the curriculum office, we are aligning our ELA program for K-3. We're purchasing a middle school social studies program, 3 additional Chromebook carts for our community school and the high school, a 6-year subscription for our ELA consumable books in grade 4 to 8, and we are aligning our ELA program, a new Common Core aligned ELA program for our 9th grade students. So the grant, as you can see from that amount, has really been supporting our English and language arts program here within the district. We will also be adding some additional positions, again, to help support our students. We will be adding a special education teacher at the Kindergarten Academy. We will be adding a special education teacher at Prospect Park School. We have a .5 social worker that will be moving to full-time at Glen Olden School. And we will be hiring a district-wide residency officer full-time. And that is really our budget presentation. Again, I just would like to thank the board for their support as we move through this process. I feel that as an administrative team, we work very closely to recognize the needs of the district and also to be very fiscally responsible to our community and to our taxpayers. So with that, I'd like to wish everyone a good summer, and we'll see you in September. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Riley. As we move on to committee reports, I don't necessarily have to give a finance report because that was finance. I just wanted to make a comment to thank Mrs. Riley, Mr. High School, and especially the board for their continued support. This is a labor, not of love, of necessity from January through June. So, and it is a moving target. We can't anticipate every expense, but we certainly do our best to ensure that we have the necessary resources for the year. So with that, we'll move on to Mr. Eckert in GBO.
Thank you, Mrs. Alger. You got off easy this evening. The GBO meeting was held on June 1st at the Administration Building. We had an update on our Kids Stop, which is an outside organization that uses one of our schools. We are still discussing a contract extension with them. We had an extensive talk on some curriculum activities there, which was a pre-K count program, which is a preschool program, which we are looking into. A learning plan from Mrs. Haggerty, and a subject area coordinator memorandum for understanding. We also had as you saw in the budget, document imaging, record retention was also discussed, and that was all that we discussed. In July, there will be no finance or GBO meeting. We will be just having a work session and public meeting, so there will be no committee meeting in July this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert. Mrs. Floyd.
Yes, I attended on June 10th the legislative meeting at the IU, 7:30 in the morning, and a lot of things were discussed, a lot of good conversation. The fact of the matter is that while the budget is going on and on and on, there were some positive things that came up. And let's see. Aside from the pension reform and what have you, there's something interesting that was discussed, and that's Senate Bill 6, the Educational Opportunity and Accountability Act. And this needs to be watched very closely because the proposal will require mandatory steps to be taken for low-performing schools within a district, including being transferred to a new entity called the Achievement School District, or ASD. The ASD would be led by an executive director who reports to a board comprised of appointees selected by the governor and leaders in the House and Senate. The ASD would have the power to manage the schools directly and implement significant staffing and other changes or convert to a charter school. The ASD could also authorize the creation of new charter schools in areas with low-performing schools. In creating a state-run ASD, Senate Bill 6 removes the authority of locally elected school boards in favor of the establishment of an appointed partisan board that has no accountability to the taxpayers, the community, parents, or students. School boards would have no control over cost of ASD schools and will be unable to exercise their taxpayer-elected authority to administer the school system. It was reported as amended from Senate Education on June 9th. This is something that we should be concerned about. When they say within a school district, if one of our community schools isn't doing well or our high school isn't doing well, that school that isn't doing well can be pulled, put under this ASD oversight, or can be made into a charter school, and we have no say. So we have to stay on top of that particular bill. There was a few other things, criminal history checks. It's going to be done every 3 years for all employees, and let's see, I could go on and on with pension reform, but I think we all know where that's going. But what I really would like to report on is that Senate Bill 838, a moratorium on Keystone exams. It would place a moratorium on use of Keystone exams and project-based assessments as a graduation requirement. And House Bill 1286 also establishes a moratorium on Keystone exams being used as a requirement for graduation. And another one is House Bill 172, would prohibit the Department of Education or the State Board of Education from imposing any requirement for students to pass a Keystone exam in order to receive a high school diploma. House Bill 168, I could go on, there's quite a few. The fact of the matter is the advocacy that's been going on throughout the state is being heard, because yesterday I received a report that the Pennsylvania Senate approves delay in Keystone exams. The state Senate unanimously passed a bill Monday that will delay by 2 years a requirement that high school students pass the Pennsylvania's Keystone exams to graduate. Under the plan, the proficiency test in Algebra 1, Biology, and Literature will not go in effect for the incoming freshmen until the 2018-19 school year. And there's more to the story. I'll make sure that I get this to Mrs. Riley to put on the website under the legislative information, because this is very important, because in this report, it tells you that the cost to the school districts, okay. Keystone's exams can have a negative impact on the career and technical education. The results of early testing indicate that the Keystone exam graduation requirements will result in significant decreases in student participation in career and technical education. The remedial requirements for students that fail a Keystone exam impose additional staff and time requirements on school districts and students, and would certainly eliminate the opportunity for students to participate in CTE. In some cases, students will elect to drop out of school instead. This is a huge unfunded mandate for schools in terms of cost, time, and staffing, plus the online project-based assessments. Excuse me? Oh, okay. Can take 10 hours or more for a student to complete. Districts face increasing costs to continue to adapt their curriculum and instruction and to have updated textbooks and materials. There are professional development and training costs, extensive record keeping, class scheduling, and student remediation. This is what is affecting our budget, one of many things. And what is it proving? Is it really showing whether or not these kids are, capable of graduating or not? And a lot of these Keystone exams are more for your college-bound kids and not for your technical student or your student that's just going out in the workforce. I think that we're leaving them behind. The state is forcing us to leave them behind. So with that said, stay tuned, contact your legislators. I'll give the information for Mrs. Riley to put on the website so that, We have to speak up and protect our kids. The students, their education, the taxpayer community members. We're all in this together. It affects all of us. So with that said, my next meeting won't be until September. I'm planning on attending a rally that they're having June 23rd next week. And they're going to basically, public education, fighting for public education and the funding and what have you. In the agenda, you'll see that we'll be voting on resolutions, 3 resolutions, and I hope my colleagues agree to pass them because they're important. Our legislators need to hear from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Floyd. Mr. Evans, Delaware County Community College.
As there was no meeting and there won't be any meetings until after summer, I have no report.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, the Delaware County Intermediate Unit, please.
Good evening, everyone. The Delaware County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors met on June 10th. The following are some of the highlights from the meeting. The Intermediate Unit General Operation Budget for 2015-16 has been approved by all 15 school districts. Approved a contract with Easter Seals for DCI to provide reverse mainstream classroom at the Marple Education Center. Addition, approved to continue the contract with Discovery Education Systems for video and on-demand services, and approve a contract awarded to Sega Technology Solutions for AV systems upgrades. For more information, you can always go to www.dciu.org for all the happenings and news. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Ms. Krajewski, can we move to motion number 10, please?
Motion that the following personnel actions be approved as listed, beginning on the bottom of page 2 and ending on page 6.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from board members? And I'll begin at 10.16. We have several retirements on behalf of the school board, the administration. We send our best wishes to our retirees. Thank you very much for the service to our students. Any other board comments?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
These aren't just people that are able to retire. These are people that dedicated and put in a lot of years. Julia Reese, special education, 37 years. Diane Gall, instructional assistant at Tinicum, 23 years. George McHugh, bus driver, 22 years. Laura Cristani, I hope I'm saying her name right, kindergarten teacher, 20 years. Mary Lowmaster, special education teacher, 18 years. That's a lot of years, a lot of dedication, and a lot of experience that's walking out the door. I wish them all well. Thank you.
Any other comments from board members? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Move on to motion 11 at the bottom of page 6. Ms. Krajewski?
Motion that the following items from the Office of Curriculum and Instruction be approved as listed, beginning on the bottom of page 6, ending on page 10.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from board members? These are the new programs and textbooks that we're moving forward with, also in service for our teachers over the summer to be implemented by September, we hope. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. On page 10, motion 12.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Special Education and Pupil Services be approved as listed, beginning on page 10, ending on page 11.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 13, bottom of page 11.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Technology be approved as listed, beginning on page 11, ending on page 12.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Facilities be approved as listed on page 12.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for motion 14. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 15, please.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Finance be approved as listed, beginning on page 12, ending on page 13.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I just want to make a comment at 15.1. You'll see that we have Tinicum School capital improvements. That's the check that we finally received from the airport settlement, and that is to be applied to our fund balance until we make a decision on the improvements to Tinicum School. Any other questions or comments?
Comment?
Yes, Mr. Eckert.
I would just like to make a comment concerning the Tinicum School capital improvements. There's a lot of buzz and talk in the street in Tinicum, and I just wanted the people to understand something, that this $500,000 has been talked about for years. We were actually promised this 3 years ago. You don't spend money that you don't have. So we did not make any plans. We did not discuss what we were going to do with this money when we got it. Because to be quite honest with you, we had no idea when we were going to get it. So please, to the people of Tinicum and to the other public, we did not include this in the budget. It is in our fund. It is now being designated to be spent only for the improvements of Tinicum and to be used as the well-intention of the settlement. So again, we did not have time to discuss what we were going to use, again, because we had no idea when we were going to receive this money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, that was very well put, Mr. Eckert. Hopefully, everybody will realize there's no panic here. My question is 15.2. For all these insurances, is this the actual cost or the estimate? Is this a guesstimate?
From the figures that are so precise, I would assume that it is the precise figures.
I don't like to assume.
I believe the place to have asked this would have been on Monday, when we could have gotten an answer for you in the intervening days. So
Apparently, you didn't read my emails.
that's what we discussed at the meeting, this agenda. Any other questions or comments for 15?
So I don't get an answer.
I gave you an answer.
You assume. So that's your answer. You assume these are
That's
accurate
exactly
numbers.
right.
It's not a guesstimate.
Yes, I assume.
Okay. Just remember what happens when people assume.
Are there any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's 9-0.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the ASOP customer agreement with Frontline Placement Technologies for the 2015-2016 school year in the amount of $5,043.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 17, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors adopt the attached resolutions, resolution urging the General Assembly to establish a new funding formula for basic education, resolution urging legislative action on school employee pension reform, resolution calling for reform of funding for cyber charter schools.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members?
President Hauger,
Yes.
I'm going to abstain from this vote. I did not have a chance to read the motions Mrs. Floyd provided to us Monday night, from between Monday night to now, so I'm going to abstain from the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grassi. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 8-0, 1 abstention. Motion 18. Ms. Krajewski, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the following individuals as listed to serve as members of the Delaware County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors for the term July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Hearing none, may we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Hogger?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. Motion 19, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the following textbook adoptions for the 2015-2016 school year as listed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of textbooks for our science program. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, may we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Hogger?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. Motion 20, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve to enter into the attached memorandum of understanding with the Interboro Education Association for district-wide curriculum-related assignments.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, may we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Hogger?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. Motion 21, please.
Motion that the school board approves the expenditure for the split dollar life insurance premium for the policy listed to Nationwide Life Insurance Company in the amount of $1,248. The current policies are under review by the district solicitor, and further premium payments would be pending the solicitor review and school board approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We had a discussion about this on Monday night. We had a discussion about it, I believe, in April. We're still investigating this policy that we inherited so that we can make a clear and informed decision and protect the interest of the school district. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Hogger?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. And last, certainly not least, motion 22.
Motion that the Board of School Directors adopts the attached final general fund budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2016, with proposed expenditures of $62,643,122, requiring an increase of .5015 mils over the current millage rate, resulting in a tax increase of 1.5%, for a new total millage rate of 33.9362 mils.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members?
Comment?
Mr. Razzi.
Thank you, President Hogger. I just want to thank you, Marty High School, Mrs. Riley, everyone who attended the budget meetings this year. I feel we've had more discussion on the budget than we have in any previous year I've been on the board. We've had more spreadsheets than I've ever seen, and I think that hard work that everybody partaked in really paid off this year, because when it came crunch time, we had everything ready to go. We didn't have to make any really hard choices. We didn't cut any staff. We didn't cut any programs. In fact, we increased staff and we increased programs. We added a residency officer and some other things that were much needed in this district. So why I don't think anyone on this board that I've ever heard say takes raising taxes lightly, and we all started out with the objective to maybe get a zero. I think with what we're providing and what we're offering new this year, why 1.5 is still, to some people, $40, $50 a year is a lot of money. Unfortunately, I don't think there was any way around it and still provide the level of service that we're providing. So I just want to thank my fellow board members for all the hard work. The meetings were very well attended this year, and I think everybody contributed, and I think that's why we ended up with a pretty good budget this year. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Mr. Razzi. Any other questions or comments?
Comment?
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes, can you please tell me if the board budget for training and conferences, that's for the board members, was that increased?
I don't know the answer to that. I
Mr.
believe
High School is-
Mrs. Riley just informed me that it was increased.
By how much?
I don't have a precise answer for that.
Okay, the reason why I asked this is because I had suggested that this be increased for training and conferences. And we have a board member that is interested in going to a conference, and when I suggested that it had to be, put on the agenda, the fact of the matter is the individual decided to pay for it out of his own pocket, as I have for many years, because we never allow or allot for very much for the board to be trained and to go to conferences. And it's a shame that nobody knows what the amount is, because...
Including yourself, Mrs. Floyd?
What do you mean?
I believe that every board member has received a budget that includes all kinds of information. But pardon me, go ahead, finish.
Okay, I was making reference that board members should have more money available to them to be able to go. All board members, not one or two, all board members. And with the upcoming year, the likelihood of having new board members with no experience or anything, that will come in handy. And it would be a shame if they can't go because we don't have enough money. Like I said, over the years, I've paid out of my pocket. Once or twice, the district paid for me. And this other board member shouldn't have to pay out of his pocket, and it's a shame.
Comment?
And Mr. Evans?
Are you done?
Okay, and when I ask questions and the short answers, and like tonight when you said you assume something, that's not an answer, okay? And it's not like I'm just asking tonight. I've been asking questions for a while. I have the right to know to show that when I wasn't given a straight answer or a complete answer, that I had to fill out the right to know, as I stated earlier during the public comment. So with that, I can't support this budget. When I approved the preliminary budget, I approved it with the intent that there may be more cut or more, looked into, so that the budget possibly could go down to 1% or lower. And I don't see where that happened. As Mr. Razzi said, there's a lot that was added and not taken away. And not that I want anything that would affect the kids' education taken away, but there are other areas that could have been looked into. Thank you.
Mr. Evans?
Yeah, as my fellow board member has said, you have to be careful when you assume. Because you don't know, you assume I was told I couldn't be reimbursed. I never expected to be reimbursed, and I never asked to be reimbursed. I was asked if I wanted to attend said conference, and I said sure. And as one of the first 100 registrants, I was able to get said conference for $25, which I didn't feel like I had to hit the school board up for $25. As a matter of fact, I'm taking 2 vacation days to attend the conference, and that, at my rate, is worth about $1,200. So I'm not worried about the $25 that I have to put out for the hotel. Everything's covered under $25. So it's $25 and a little bit of gas. So you can't assume that I was told I would not be reimbursed. I never expected to be. I never asked for it. And when it was suggested, I said no, thank you. So you have to be careful when you assume. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Excuse
And
me,
I
I
do
wasn't...
thank you,
Excuse
Mr.
me.
Evans, because I appreciate the fact, as does most of the rest of the board, that you're going to attend this meeting It is for a conference for possibly establishing an educational foundation which would benefit the district, and I think it's something that we should look into as a board to be forward-looking. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, comment.
Mrs. Floyd?
I was not assuming anything. I read the memo that you sent out where you said that it would come out of the board line item budget. And so therefore, I wasn't assuming. I didn't know anything about it until your memo came out.
You're assuming that I was expecting to be reimbursed, and I wasn't. And you assumed that I was told I couldn't be reimbursed, and so changed my mind and agreed to pay for it. I had always agreed to pay for it.
I'm only going by what Mrs.
Right.
Hager reported to the board. And you're right. It's your choice, but no board member should have that since we don't get paid for doing this job. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on motion
Comment.
22?
Comment down here at the end of the table,
Yes,
please.
Mr. Eckert.
Line item, Board of Directors, 2015, 2016 budget is $134,349. That includes our subscriptions to magazines, training fees, board secretary, and other miscellaneous things that the board pays, which comes out of the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert.
Comment?
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes, there's more of a line item. That is the overall, which pays for advertisements, solicitor, and what have you. That sounds like a lot of money. But for training and for conferences, there was only $1,500 for the year for the board to go to conferences and training. So that's not in here, and it's not broken down specifically what the board budget is. Thank you.
The point taken, Mrs. Floyd, is the fact that you think that we do not know what we're voting on, and we do know what we're voting on. We have it in front of us. We discuss it. It's there. We do know what line items are in the budget, and we know where the money is, and we know where the money's going. Thank you.
Thank you. Hearing
Can
other
somebody-
comments, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Excuse me, I have another comment.
Yes, Mrs. Floyd.
Yes, if there's a line item, can you please tell me where specifically it says for training? That's a general number. That's an overall number. Not,
Mrs. Floyd, we can certainly provide the exact amount when we get time to look at the budget, the exact numbers. This is a $60 million budget, and we're talking about approximately $2,000. Hearing no other comments, could I have a roll call vote on motion 22?
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
no.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzie? Mrs. Hager?
Yes. Motion passes 8-1. Is there any old business before the board? New business?
Old business.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes, I want to go back to last month when it was brought to the attention that, about the secretaries, and there were bumps in salary, there was people getting salaries, and then I found out further that,
Mrs. Floyd, I believe this is executive session material.
not when it's in the minutes. It's in the minutes. Not this month, last month. And then I also, with my right to know, which if I got it, it means it's public knowledge, how much the different people are making. And the fact of the matter is, I got a copy of the postings, and the postings posted for the salary that was in the agenda last month. However, that's not what we're giving the individuals. So therefore, the postings were inaccurate, which our HR director said that there was a mistake, was supposed to look into it to figure out what was going to come about. The fact of the matter is, we did nothing about it, and it's only causing more havoc among that group. So with
Mrs. Floyd,
so
may I
with-
remind you, at Monday's meeting and previous meetings, we discussed this, we got feedback,
The rest of the board was satisfied with the answers. This is not something that has been withheld from this board. We've been fully informed about these positions, about the situation, and where we are in the process of resolving this issue. So, yes, we have been informed, so the public knows that this is not something that has sprung full-blown tonight.
No, the HR director wasn't there Monday night, so therefore he didn't give us an update on what the outcome was. So therefore, I'll go back to the minutes, the posting. This was not done right. All I asked for, that it be done right. The same people will probably get those positions. It's just that the salaries were not posted accurately.
So noted. So noted. Anything else? New business. Mrs. Riley.
Thank you, Mrs. Hogger. First, I would like to congratulate the class of 2015. Graduation was held last week at Newman University, and it was a wonderful event, and I'm very proud of our students and the families, and it's a pleasure to attend those events as we recognize our students. I do wish them well in the future as they head off to college, career, and so forth. The Interboro channel will be airing the graduation within the next week or two. Summer reading and math information is available on the district website. If you look under the Curriculum and Instruction tab, you'll find everything that you need there for our students to complete their summer reading and math. Summer hours for the district are also posted on the website, as well as information about summer school. And finally, I would hope that everyone would continue to follow us on Twitter, as we will be posting information about the upcoming school year and what the district is up to over the course of the summer as we prepare for the new school year. And I would like to wish everyone a safe, happy, and relaxing summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Riley. I just want to make a comment about graduation. I've attended many graduations in my career in education, and I am always impressed with the Interboro graduation. Our students were wonderful. They were so well behaved, adult, mature. Our faculty did a wonderful job with them. The ceremony was just delightful. So it was a pleasure to be there. For those of you that completed the school year, have a nice rest this summer. Any other comments from board members? Hearing none.
Comment?
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes, it was a busy last couple of weeks because of all the activities going on, and I was very happy to be able, excuse me?
What's that?
I thought you were talking to me. I don't know, you were talking.
I was talking to Mr. Phelps.
Okay. The fact of the matter is that there was a lot of activities going on, and I was very happy that I was able to attend, if not all, most of them. And between the 8th grade dances, the after prom, the parents have done a fantastic job, and I hope the students thank their parents for all that they did. I also, the graduation, I was able to go to the kindergarten. 3 days I went. The one I got, I didn't get the right time or day, but I would have been there. The fact of the matter is that I did make it to the Prospect Park Dare graduation, and that was very nice. And also the Prospect Park school, the 8th grade graduation. And those kids are just, I just hope that they carry all this up to the high school with them. And with that said, I wish everybody a very happy summer, be safe, and hopefully we'll see some of you during the summer months at the meetings. Thank you.
Any other board members?
Yes.
Mr. Eckert?
I was questioned earlier this evening. That is not the time to answer questions. I would like to address the question that was given to me. Mr. Doby, yes, I was well aware of the original percentage split between the districts, the county, and Tinicum Township. And for the record, I drug out many executive sessions bringing up that fact that I do not believe that the one-third was a fair deal for the Interboro School District. But overall, there was no other way to go about it, and that's where it came. So for the record, yes, I was aware of it, and yes, I did throw my effort into seeing how that could change, but one person is not enough to take on a lot of people, so thank you. Also, I'd like to take the time that at this time of year, we end up thanking our teachers and our administrators and those people that are in the forefront of our students' education. We tend to forget that there's many people in the morning that get up and spend their afternoons as well, crossing our kids on the corners, our friendly crossing guards, and also our school bus drivers that transport our kids safely throughout the school year. Don't forget them at the end of the school year when you have an opportunity to. I know this school year has passed, but in the future, they also do a very good job for us, and so do our teachers. I don't want to forget you guys and our staff, but throw out a hello and a thank you to those other unsung heroes that we tend to forget about in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert. Any other board members? The next work session of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the boardroom of the Administration Building on Monday, July 13th, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. The next regular monthly meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the auditorium of the high school on Wednesday, July 15th, 2015 at 7:00 p.m. Meeting adjourned.